All right, looks like we're on. Cool. Awesome. What's going on, family? What's going on? It's Brother 𝐁𝐫𝐴 here at IALG.com. We're always building bridges within to explore the world without. We're going to dive into the topic today, and it's the number one reason you don't get what you want in life. It's only one reason. And this reason, though, before I disclose it to you, extends in a whole bunch of different directions, and it has a whole bunch of different reasons on why you have this issue. I'm going to tell you, though, this issue is easy to get rid of. It's simple to get rid of, rather. And all it takes is some consistency and some time with yourself and inside yourself. Okay? So the number one reason you don't get what you want in life, I'm going to wait a little bit. I want at least one more person to hop on this live. This is very important information, y'all. It's very important. It can really make the breakthrough in how you approach people and how you approach your life in general. All right? So we got to realize that this is your life. This is your life. Everything that's happening around you is a result of you and your thinking and your actions and your behavior and your habits. It's the frequency that you're exhibiting. Those actions that you do, the frequency that you're on, it's all a result of your thinking and your behavior with that thinking. And whether or not you agree with the thinking and act on the thinking. All right? So you could say that you're hungry and not eat. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all a matter of you agreeing with the thoughts. And what you do is a reflection of the frequency that you're on. Because you can't always control thoughts. You really can't. Sometimes thoughts just come. It's what you do with those thoughts, right? So the number one reason you don't get what you want in life is because you're lacking assertiveness. And this is a big problem that I see just in the world today. It's lacking assertiveness. And so what is assertiveness, right? And I'm going to tell you what it's not, and then we're going to go on what it is. Assertiveness is not aggression. Assertiveness is not dominance. Assertiveness is not manipulation. Assertiveness is not sly persuasion. Assertiveness is the ability to express what you desire. That's it. That's all assertiveness is. It's expressing what you desire. But it has I won't just say two, but it has a multitude of different components and different layers to it. Assertiveness. So number one is expressing what you want. Number two is not settling for what you do not want. It's very important. And assertiveness goes into a multitude of different areas, like I said. So it can go when you're stating something, and it can also go when you're enforcing what you stated. So if you are in a meeting and they're asking for opinions, and I know there are some people out there, because I used to be one of them, where you don't speak up, you don't express what you have to say. You might have the best idea in the world, but nobody will hear because you're too afraid to speak up. And I'm not saying you're afraid because you're cowardly, but you may be afraid because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to feel stupid. You don't want to feel ostracized. You don't want to feel judged. Whatever the case may be, so you don't speak up. Right? So you're lacking assertiveness in that area. You're lacking assertiveness in speaking and using your voice and spreading some of your light. And the other area can be when you state something, but you don't enforce it. Right? So if you got a group of friends, and you say, I don't like lying. It bothers me when people lie. And you catch somebody in a lie, and you just let it under the rug. Now I'm gonna give the caveat, and we're gonna go. You guys know how I am by now. I hope you do. If you don't, you'll figure this out right now. I'm not saying you got to get on people every single moment of the day and make a large deal about it and a huge deal and raise the flag and be like, you did it! You ain't got to do all that. But it is important to express how you feel and when a boundary is crossed. Recognize that. That's part of being assertive. A lot of the times what I notice is people hold their tongues because they don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to be the outcast. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to feel like, they don't want to think that they're judging other people. Or they don't want people to feel like they're judging them. You must learn to assert yourself. Otherwise, you will always get steamrolled. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Assertiveness is not always getting what you want, but rather putting on the table what you desire. Let me explain. This is a big one for today's world. I just actually watched another live about what the theme in the air is going on right now, and it's relationships. A big area that I see when people lack assertiveness is when they're dating somebody. They have standards. They have their boundaries, and the partner or the person that they like or crushing on crosses those boundaries, and they don't say anything. Now, I know a lot of people have experienced this before, and if you haven't recognized it, I want you to ask yourself this question. After you got out of this relationship or you stopped talking to this person, you say, they got on my nerves. They did all this annoying stuff. You complain about them. The reason that you end up complaining about these people is because you didn't assert yourself when something bothered you. You didn't speak up when you wanted something out of that relationship, out of that exchange. It's nothing wrong with being assertive, and there's nothing wrong to want things out of the situations that you're in. It's a law of the universe, reciprocity, give and take, give and take. You must learn to take things the same way that you like to give. Now, what I notice, I won't say that. There's people are either on one of the two streams of being assertive. They're either very passive or they're overly aggressive. Very passive or overly aggressive. And the passive people don't speak up. The passive people get steamrolled and they get bullied dang near, or they get hushed, or they get persuaded into silence. They stuff their voice down because they don't want to speak up. And the other side of that is the overly aggressive people that don't know how to communicate properly. So instead of listening to the other person, they force and they domineer people. Now, there's a time and place for both of those actions. There's a time and a place to be the aggressive party, because sometimes people will try to pick on you. Sometimes people will try to bully you. And you got to be able to stand your ground and say, no sir, no ma'am, you need to step back. This is not what we're doing. And other times, you got to learn how to just be quiet, because you don't always have the right plan in mind. And sometimes you got to just learn to listen. See, those are instances on when to exhibit that behavior, but nevertheless, you should always have assertive communication. Your communication should always be assertive. And again, it's not always this aggressive speech. I can be assertive with what I like out of my relationships. I really value honesty, commitment, and open communication. And from time to time, I like my space. That's being assertive. I'm stating it out front. I'm putting my desires on the table. Just to give you a further example of it, I need my time by myself, right? And my partner, my woman, is all up in my ear. Let's go with 3 approaches. I'm going to show you 3 examples of how to handle that situation. Number 1, leave me alone. Get out of my face. I don't want to talk to you. Now, based off what I've told y'all, what would that be? Passive, assertive, or aggressive? It's aggressive. Or I could be passive. I want my time by myself. I want to be alone. My woman's all up in my ear. Now I stay silent. I sit here and entertain her. So what am I doing at that point? Am I being passive or assertive? I'm being passive. The next way is, sweetheart, I need some time to myself. I need some space. Would you do that for me? Assertiveness. I didn't have to be extreme. I didn't have to be quiet. I just state my desires. Now let me tell you what happens when you're not assertive. When you're aggressive, get out of my face, leave me alone, I don't want to be bothered with you. What does that do? It creates a rift between you and the other person. You're stepping on toes. And sometimes stepping on toes is inevitable, but there's always a more tactful way of approaching something. Now, if I'm passive with it, I don't say anything, I put space between me and myself and an invisible wall between me and the other person. I start building up resentment because I think in my head they should recognize something, but I haven't spoken up and I haven't stated what I desire. It's an issue. But it becomes my issue because I didn't put it on the table for us to resolve. And now assertiveness allows for us to be on the same page at all times. No matter what the outcome is, I've stated my position. Now we can work through things. I hope you all understand this. So the number one reason you don't get what you want is because you're not assertive. Oftentimes you either are pushing people away or you allow them to push you wherever you want to go instead of just standing your ground, establishing boundaries, establishing your own rules of engagement and speaking up. We're going to go a little deeper today with this, y'all. So I know I've told you all why you don't get what you want. I've told you what assertiveness is, but I'm going to tell you why people aren't assertive. I've given you a little bit of it, but I'm going to go to the psychological level of it. There's something called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And in short, this is just reasons on why people act the way that they do. These are motivating factors, right? I'm going to go through it really briefly. So on the very lowest level, there's your physiological needs. So you need food and water, right? The next level up is your safety and security. So you need protection, you need shelter. The third level up is connections. Or inclusion. So you want to have connection with people, you want to feel love, and you want to have relationships. The fourth level is esteem. So it's how you see yourself. You want to see yourself as worthy or good enough. And the last level is self-realization or self-actualization, and that's building yourself and developing yourself to be the highest level that you can be. Now, these are just more so frameworks. They're not these set in stone things. Like, you don't just get your physiological needs met one day and then you never got to worry about them. They fluctuate day in and day out. It's very important that you understand this. So the reason why some people are not assertive is because these psychological factors are sometimes in the subconscious or the unconscious mind. So, example, you're in a meeting or you're with your friends and something's bothering you, or you don't want to go a certain place and you don't speak up. It's not because you don't lack courage or you're not brave or you're cowardly or whatever negative connotation may be insinuated or assumed because you didn't speak up. Sometimes it's an unconscious behavior, it's an unconscious thought that you might not have that connection. The third layer of Maslow's hierarchy. You'll feel like you'll be ostracized, you'll be kicked out, and therefore you won't be accepted. And so you don't speak up because you don't want to not be accepted. We have to realize that these things are running in the background and these are motivations for our behavior. Now, in order to get past these things, in order to really become more assertive, you got to understand the needs, the hierarchy. And that's not the only framework, by the way. There's a lot of different frameworks, but you got to understand what is your motivation behind not speaking up. And then you have to begin to challenge it. Because it's not always the truth that if you say something that you're going to be rejected. This is trauma now that's gone in and influenced our minds. It's trauma that will say, if I speak up, I will be rejected. And we'll use childhood, especially in this community. If you speak up, you're often seen as being disrespectful as children. And that's not everybody's parents, but that's a lot of parents out there. If you back talk, quote unquote, or you're expressing yourself, it's seen as back talk, and therefore you get punished. Or depending on the development of your own parents or your peers or your teacher, you won't receive love, or you'll get things taken away from you. Now you've developed a condition in your mind. If I speak up, things get taken away. Some of my needs, security, relationships, physiological needs, esteem, it gets taken away. And so with these patterns, as you're going through life, guess what happens? You don't want those needs taken away. And so you don't assert yourself. You don't speak up. You don't say the things that you need and want to say. I hope you all understand this is so powerful. So you have to start rewriting the narrative on what happens when you assert yourself. You have to begin to recognize where you're at in the current state. You have to bring yourself into the now. You have to get out of the past thinking and come into the present thinking and recognize that not everybody's like your parents. Not everybody's like your environment. Hopefully you've changed environments. And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do so, because it will make it easier, or will allow you to start transitioning and transforming your mindset to recognizing that you can assert yourself. You can state what you need and what you want from people, from life, from friends, from family, from the world, without being rejected or having some of your needs taken away. Now, with that being said, asserting yourself does have risks. It does have a risk, because you might get one of your quote-unquote needs taken away. It's true. Somebody might not like that you don't want to go there, or you state that that's not what you want to do, or you have your own boundaries. And people will manipulate you or just be who they are and take stuff that they've given you. Now we're going to go a little deeper in the rabbit hole, y'all. And I'm going to end it with this. This is why it's important to develop yourself. This is why it's important to develop yourself, to become whole within, to give yourself everything that you need and not depend on other people. Because when you depend on other people, you fall into the victim of not asserting yourself. You fall into the trap of not speaking up for fear that somebody's going to take away something that they've given you. But that fear is alleviated when you provide everything for yourself. And guess what happens when you're providing everything for yourself? You're able to love people more and interact with them better. Why? Because your agreeability is not determined by what they're giving you. I hope y'all get that. You're interacting with them because you want to and not because you need to, because they're meeting one of your needs. This is powerful stuff, family. I hope you get it. I hope you're catching all these things, because this is what separates people who know how to be assertive and those who don't. They're not depending on other people for their needs to be met. Therefore, they can speak up and get what they want out of life. But when you're depending on other people for your needs, you tend to hold your tongue. You tend to not speak up. And when you do that, you not only don't get what you want in life, it also starts wars within yourself. You start to draw a dissonance. You stop trusting your intuition. You stop believing in your inner voice. You let that stuff go. And that is your connection to source. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, right? I'm not going to go down that train of thought, but I really want to just let you all know it's important to be assertive. And there's a multitude of ways on why people aren't assertive. And I've listed a few. So you got to do your homework, y'all. You got to do your work and start building within yourself. You got to start building and working on being assertive and sticking up for yourself and stating what you need, having boundaries and holding those boundaries, establishing your values and looking and only accepting those values. You don't have to settle. Become self-sufficient, or as self-sufficient as you can each and every day, so that you can eventually become completely self-sufficient, so that you don't fear speaking up, so that you don't fear asserting yourself, so that you don't fear speaking your truth. This is important stuff, family. And if you don't understand this skill, you won't get what you want out of life, or it'll be a gamble. And most often than not, that gamble, you'll be on the losing end of it. You may get what you want sometimes, but more often than not, you won't. It's because you haven't spoken up. And you haven't reclaimed that power in your voice and speaking up. So that's it, fam. That's the lesson for today. That's the lecture, quote unquote. So I hope you all got a lot out of it. And I always end these with this. I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job correctly, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing you a service if I didn't offer my service. If you need help understanding these things on a deeper level and applying it to your individual life and your individual situation, reach out to me. Visit my site. It's 𝐈𝐧𝐯.com. Make impacts in your life. Make a transformation in your life. Become more assertive. Get what you want out of life and stop settling for self and starting a war within. I just have a question for you. I'm going to end it. Will you commit to yourself? And if so, I want you to visit my site and let's talk. This is Brother Kovsty at IALLG.com. We're always building bridges within to explore the world without. With that being said, peace.